Hello guys, this is Nick with PhoneArena, and later this year, major updates are going to be released for the two dominating smartphone platforms. Google is going to launch the next flavor of Android, known as Android L this time, and Apple will be pushing out iOS 8 to iPhones and iPads. Now, even though these platforms are months away from being released, early versions of them are already in the hands of developers. We have them as well, so let's do a quick early comparison between the two. Our first stop is the lock screen. What's new in Android L is that the lock screen notifications are now displayed at a glance right in the middle of the screen, not just in the pull-down panel. In iOS, lock screen notifications have been handled like this for a long time, and it is good to see that Android has adopted a similar method. Of course, you may interact with these notifications. In Android L, a swipe dismisses the notification and a double press launches the application. On iOS, a swipe can be used to reply to a text or an email, or to mark it as read. Some might like it that in iOS the whole display lights up when you receive a notification. You can instantly see what it is. This won't happen in Android L, but instead the notification light will go off if one is available. Both platforms have camera shortcuts on their lock screens for quick access to the camera application. However, one thing that Android L has, but iOS doesn't, is a shortcut to the phone application. Once on the Android L home screen, we see that everything is as it was with KitKat pretty much. We got our screens for app shortcuts, folders and widgets, our app drawer, and Google Now is just at a swipe's distance. The iOS 8 home screen hasn't changed much either, and is as minimalist and intuitive to use as ever. This is the redesigned notification panel in Android L. It automatically pushes important notifications to the top of the list and sends the non-important ones to the bottom. Apple's notification panel is a little bit different. Pull it down and the first thing that you'll see is the Today tab. It lists the user's daily schedule and the weather forecast. Below we have widgets that have been activated and other bits of information. Notifications are in their separate tab, grouped by application, and the order in which these are listed can be changed from the settings menu. Android L includes a redesigned Quick Controls menu, which is placed in the pull-down panel. The new panel is more functional than before, with the added display brightness slider and, finally, a button for locking the orientation of the display. The iOS Control Center is no less awesome, and in fact, it is easier to get to with a swipe up. It lets us easily set the screen's brightness, toggle Wi-Fi on or off, control music playback and more. On the downside, one has to be careful not to pull it up by accident while scrolling down a web page, for example. Here is the on-screen keyboard in Android L. It is fast and accurate just like before, with its autocorrect and word prediction functions. You still have swipe typing and access to plenty of emote icons. The iOS 8 keyboard now has word prediction as well, and it is of the intelligent kind. The more you use it, the more it learns about the words you use and the way you type. Third-party keyboards will be available for iOS 8. The phone application in Android L has a fresh new design. Favorite contacts are organized in a compact list, and their placement closer to the screen's bottom edge makes them easier to reach with a single thumb. The contact that has been dialed last and the search bar are on the top. As before, searching from the phone application yields not only results from our contacts, but from nearby businesses, restaurants and hotels as well. The iOS 8 phone application is still this minimalist black and white list of contacts, favorites and recently contacted numbers. It gets the job done, but kind of lacks in character. Yet points go to Apple for enabling us to block calls and texts from certain contacts. Speaking of contacts, in iOS 8 they are displayed in a single alphabetical list. Perhaps it would have been nicer if a picture was shown next to their name. Profile pictures are displayed for contacts on the favorites list, however. On Android L, the contacts list has been made more compact, with smaller profile pictures and less empty space between names. In Android L, we can search from pretty much any screen using voice commands. This feature actually came with an update to the search application, so it should be available on some Android phones already. But it won't work if the phone is in standby. Siri in iOS 8 can also respond to your commands from any screen and even when the phone is on standby. But there's a catch. Always-on voice commands work only if the phone is plugged into a power source, or if the Siri interface is open already. If you prefer to type in whatever it is you're searching for, Android has a search bar on any home screen. It returns results from the web, from your contacts list, and from the list of installed applications. Spotlight Search in iOS 8 works in a similar way. You pull down from any home screen to access the search bar. What's really cool is that it searches not only on the internet, but also in your inbox, in your contacts, your installed applications list, and it will also display results from news outlets, from Wikipedia and the iTunes Store. Android L uses Google Camera as its default camera application. Overall, it is a nice app that shines with its ease of use. You won't find controls like manual exposure, ISO and shutter speed controls, but ordinary folks should be satisfied with the built-in camera modes. These include lens blur, photosphere, HDR and panorama. On iOS 8, we find a camera application that also has a few tricks up its sleeve. iOS users have the freedom to control focus and exposure independently and the option to shoot time-lapse videos. Compared to Google Camera, the iOS 8 application is about as easy to get the hang of. And this concludes our early comparison between Android L and iOS 8. As you can tell, the two major smartphone platforms are going to become better than ever once these updates are pushed out, and we are pretty sure that they will continue to dominate the market. But even after the update, there's probably not going to be a clear leader in the race between Android and iOS. The two are equally awesome right now, and will be equally awesome after they're updated. For more information and coverage on Android L and iOS 8, just visit our website phonearena.com.